Harpreet, and all the panelists and all the members here, uh, whom probably I don't know right now one on one, but I'm sure in days to come we will be knowing each other hopefully much better. So, to give you a little brief about me, one introduction has already been given, and as far as that introduction is concerned, I must confess that when you add the uh, names of Honda, Samsung, ITC, so it is only to communicate that you are bankable. Okay, and when you add the names of all the universities from where you have done the program, so it is only because you know them, you don't know me. So at least through them, you will know that, okay, we can listen to this person. Probably you might have learned something after all these programs and learning efforts. So as far as first, I would briefly like to tell about myself as an individual. I'm typically true blue Punjabi, born in Punjab, Hoshiarpur, and I'm the youngest among three siblings. I have two elder sisters, married. I have got two kids, a son and a daughter. They are also married now, and they are settled. Daughter is settled in Canada, in Vancouver, and my son is here in Bangalore. So that's about little brief about me as a person. Now, actually, it's the first time that I'm expected to talk about my journey, life journey. Normally, in all the panels and all the seminars or all the lectures, you speak on one subject. So I don't know how effective I'm going to be on this extempo, but one thing that I can assure you that it's going to be a very honest and transparent sharing of what I learned over the years in my life journey as well as the career journey. So when I started off, maybe my schooling and my college, uh, I'm of course from a middle class family. So what I found is that there are people who are uh, smarter than me, who are taller than me, who are richer than me. And when I started going to school, college on my cycle, and people used to come in their cars or scooters or bikes, so I used to get a complex, and I used to wonder that, since I'm not having all this, is anyone going to notice me? Am I going to get the value or the recognition that I believe that I deserve? And how will anyone even look at me, and why? Then, slowly I started realizing that we all have our own USPs, knowingly or unknowingly. Nature has given us. For example, uh, most of the people I came across were very indisciplined. So I thought the moment I become disciplined, that will be my USP, and I will be one among maybe hundreds or thousands, because thousands of people around me are not disciplined. Uh, Maybe hundreds of people are not punctual. If I become punctual, that will become my USP. So it was not anywhere else that I had to go. It was only to probably discipline myself and be in your own right, having a entity of your own, identity of your own. And people, very soon I found that people started noticing you, because you are always on time, because you are always doing this. So for example, I used to play cricket during my college time. So what I found, I might not have scored lot many runs, I might not have taken a lot of wickets, but the coach used to always call, why don't you learn it from Sanjeev how to come on time? And at least, he starts doing his exercise on time. So I realized that out of that, maybe, 50 odd players who are there in the field, one is getting mentioned. And that means somewhere I have made my impression. I have made my presence felt. And that became sort of learning lesson, one of the initial learning lessons. And I started realizing that, you don't have to copy anyone. You don't have to go with the herd mentality, and just be yourself. And within you, you have lot many things to improve. And the moment you improve, you become bankable, I would say, in the terminology that today we can use. And that was my first learning, that be yourself, be good, and follow your heart. No one else can tell you what is good for you. You know it best. because people assess you on the basis of what you have done, but you assess yourself on the basis of what you can do. And that only I know what I can do. So that was one learning lesson that also told me or given me another learning, that you should always look at something bigger and aspire for that. And it's not that complicated. I think we make life very complicated. If we make it simple and we keep it simple, it's very manageable. It's everything is quite reachable, everything is quite doable. But the problem with us is that we make things very complicated. Now, just to give an example, people want to uh, get everything, take everything in life. What you don't realize that the moment you start giving it, actually what goes around comes around, that, as the saying goes. So basically, we are looking for happiness. Actually, the other day I was talking to in one session on happiness. So I will just take you your few minutes to talk about that. You see, happiness or the feeling of fulfillment or the feeling of contentment is what we all aspire for. There was one gentleman from University of Virginia who Mr. Ed Diner. He's called Mr. Happiness, Dr. Happiness, and he has done a lot of research on the subject happiness. So basically, what he tells is that when they did the research, they found that over 95% people said that the end goal for their life is the happiness, the contentment. And then there is a happiness paradox. What happens that subsequently they were asked in another question that, if you get the Aladdin's genie and you have to ask 3 wishes, what it will be. So at number 1, which was around 70% plus, came money. Then at number 2, it came name, fame, success. And at number 3 came relationships. So it was all between 60 to 70%. People opted for these 3 things. Now he had named it as medium maximization, that these are the things, these are the mediums to reach the end objective of happiness. But in the process, what happens, we lose sight of that and we start working. Say, if I have to earn money, I will keep earning money without taking care of my relationships. I take it for granted that I have to make some compromises. It can't be a balanced life. I can't be happy without getting money and all. So I think that medium maximization, or what I call the happiness paradox, I think we all, rather most of us, live in that. And that is where we need to understand that you get what you aspire for, and you must focus on that, and you work on that, and everything is achievable, everything is doable. The moment we start believing in it, the moment we start believing in ourselves, things start happening. Things start falling in place. As I think in one movie, Shah Rukh Khan had said that जब आप किसी चीज को शिद्दत से चाहते हो तो सारी कायनात उसको मिलाने में जुड़ जाती है, लग जाती है. तो something like that. The only problem is we don't become sure or confident or focused. Somewhere we let it go, we let it slip. The moment we are focused, everything is achievable. One more aspect for me is very important in life, is that to be a good learner and keen observer throughout the life, because as I said, not to get into the herd mentality. So I will, when I started my career, I will come to that. Jaspreet, you wanted to say something?
No, sir, please go ahead.
Okay. So when I started my career, it was with Honda. Actually, incidentally, I found today morning only that the Honda name is missing in the my introduction. So Honda was my first job, and I joined Honda Portable Gensets and subsequently moved to the car project. So when I joined Honda as my first job, I had done my when I did my management, I did my specialization in the HR. But subsequently, when I got into the industry, what I found that supply chain is something which attracted me, because I felt that supply chain is, as far as HR part is concerned, that is there across the organization in any function. When you deal with the human beings, obviously you apply those management learnings. But supply chain is the pivot around whom the whole organization revolves. And that was around 33 years back now, or 32 years back. So from there, journey and the learning started in supply chain domain. And what I found is that I was very clear that I have to focus in a manner that I won't follow anyone. I won't go with the herd mentality. I will just observe the things and I will understand and then start doing things. For that, obviously, because I was new to the automobile industry, so I asked those my transporter business associates and other service providers that if they can connect me to Bajaj, Eicher, Escorts, Maruti, other majors in the automobile industry, so that I can learn and collaborate with them. Surprisingly or shockingly, they came back telling me that koi milna nahi chahta, no one is interested in meeting. Okay, and they say that they don't know Honda is just starting in India and we are not interested in meeting. I think they went to an extreme by saying no one wants to meet, and that is what somewhere made me think that practically it is not possible, that no one wants to meet. Someone would also be having my kind of mentality that let's collaborate, let's meet other industry people and we will be able to learn and contribute to each other's growth. Then I started approaching them directly, most of the supply chain heads of these companies. And what I found, everyone was very warm and reciprocal. And we formed a very formidable, entity together as one body of automobile supply chain experts. And of course, it helped me in my learning of the industry, but it also immediately brought a big change in the industry because people, the transporters and those so on service providers at that point of time, they were taking advantage of this people not talking to each other. So from the same route, the same vehicle may be costing 10,000 rupees for one and another person is paying 15,000 rupees. The moment we started talking to each other, we found that it is a win-win for all of us. And that was the reason that those service providers are not allowing us to meet. And subsequently, from there, when I had to look for a change after about 7 years, where I felt in Honda that I have done what I could have done. So one thing that normally happens in the industry is that people, if they are in automobile, they prefer to go to automobile only. They will go from Honda to Toyota or Toyota to Eicher or Escorts or so on and so forth. I was very clear, if there is anything to learn or contribute in Honda, then I won't look for a change, because I was growing and I was doing good in the organization. So I was clear, if I have to make a change, it will be change of industry, because I never wanted to be labeled as an automobile guy or a consumer durable guy or a FMCG guy. I wanted to be labeled as a supply chain guy, that I'm a supply chain expert. So what I decided, when I was looking for a change, I fortunately got an opportunity with Samsung Electronics. They were setting up their business in India. And when I joined them, I had one of my team member also whom I had taken there. And when we were to do things there, he said कि सर मेरे पास वो सारी files और वो सारा data है जो हमने वहाँ पे लिया था. मैंने कहा, why you bought all that? So he said कि sir, it will help us. No, we have worked so hard for that. Now why again to reinvent the things here? We will use the same formats. Now I think again that was one learning for me. People try to take the easy course, and they try to do things, and that is what somewhere stops your learning. I had not taken anything from Honda except my learnings and my experience. And when I went to Samsung, I started looking at the business afresh. Now, of course, those learnings or experiences are always with you. It's never going to go away. So when I looked at Samsung Electronics, I looked at the whole business model. I looked at how to establish what kind of distribution network, sourcing network, my logistic network. And again, it worked out to be the best. And we were rated as best by Business Today publication at that point of time. So, and in Honda, when we were doing again, we were rated as the best managed overseas project by Honda Motor Company. So these things started giving confidence that probably I'm able to understand the business requirement and able to contribute and add value to that. Because these were all greenfield projects when I joined them. So it was very important that you don't, you carry your experience and learning, which is with you, but you don't restrict yourself with the same work that you have done earlier, because the whole purpose of changing the industry was that I should get more learnings, a fresh learning, and I should be able to see what actually is having synergy with the previous learnings and what is different that I can learn afresh and where I can contribute afresh. The same thing happened when I left Samsung Electronics. I moved to ITC Limited, which was in lifestyle division, which again was setting up that business in India. So fashion industry, as you know, is very different. And then knowingly, cautiously, because I had been doing it, I made it, one of my career planning that I will never go to the same industry. I would look for the new industry. I will try to do something different there. I will try to add my bit of value there. And that was testing my own abilities and my own learnings. And while it is enriching you with the previous experiences, it is also giving you a lot of opportunity to learn afresh. So I worked with the Honda, then Samsung, then ITC. Then for a year, I also joined Reliance Retail, but came back to ITC because there was a cultural misfit for me. And then I worked with Metro Cash and Carry, and then the BigBasket.com before joining Patanjali, my current assignment where I'm working for last 5-6 years. So what I found in all these experiences that one thing which is common all across, the basics remain same. So that is one big strength that you have in any case. But there is a lot of opportunity for you to learn afresh and learn new things and contribute more effectively with your learnings, which if you are copybook for one particular industry type, you won't be able to do. So that means that helped me in my learning, that keep exploring things, keep exploring new things, and keep it simple, keep your networks alive, because all that helped me. Maybe I never used my service provider of Honda and Samsung because it was a different industry, or a service provider or a business associate of Samsung in ITC, but it helped me in maintaining those relations, and I continued that. So every time I was aware of what's happening across the industry and how it can help me in my job that I'm doing currently. And that keeps enriching you as an individual. Another thing which I was very clear right from the beginning, from my first job, maybe till date, that I keep doing is that I believe very firmly in a philosophy that efforts may fail, let's not fail in making efforts. So you have to keep trying. Go with your heart, as I said earlier. So if you are going with your heart, if you believe your experience, your learning, your intelligence, your IQ level, if that is there to guide you, and you are not blind or you are not closed eyed, you are looking at the things the way it's, you can learn things and contribute and grow. So it is very important that you have to keep yourself open. And when you are open, when you are experimenting new things, obviously, if you are working, you may fail also. And that I keep telling, all along, I have been telling my team members also, you don't do, I want a spare. You do and you fail, it's acceptable to me. I am accountable for it. I will take the onus, but you must experiment. You must try doing something new. The problem with us is that we try to do things in a very copybook style. The moment you are doing it, nothing new will happen. You won't be able to test your own capabilities. You won't be able to contribute to your organizations or to your environment beyond defined norm, because that's what is the norm defined. So you are not trying anything different. So how you will get any different result? So to get different result, you have to try doing things differently. And that is what I always believe, that change the industry, change the verticals, even the team structures, even the processes. So for me today, three things become very clear after all my these years in the industry. One is the team building. Second is defining the processes. And third is the network, your distribution network, the logistic network. So one is your team management. When you talk of team, it is not the team which is reporting to me. Because as a good manager, I must know how to manage my managers. and that is more critical part of it, which people fail doing. They just listen to the boss and keep doing. I will share one very interesting experience with you, which happened very early in my life, and it kept helping me till date. At times it happens people are because skeptical to little new ideas, and that too from someone new, someone young. So when I started my career, I used to tell my boss that this is how we should try doing it, and he will just tell me to sit on my seat tight and listen to him what he is telling and do it that way only. I thought that if this continues, how will I be able to add my value, and how will I be able to see whether what ideas I am getting actually are they effective, and they are good or they are not. So how do I test that? So I just tried one gimmick, and it worked, and I keep using it till date. I thought that I don't want a gold medal out of it, right? I just want my idea to be implemented and tested. So in one of the forum, I said, sir, the way you were suggesting, it was very good. Actually, at that time, I could not understand that we should do it this way. Actually, that was my idea, but I attributed to him that you were saying the other day that we should do it. Immediately, he said, yeah, I keep telling you people, you don't listen. And go ahead and do it that way. For me, it became a very good trick that, okay, so the moment I attribute it to them, they don't want you to be smarter than them. So the moment you are saying, sir, you only had suggested me, shall we do it that way? And I was not able to understand earlier, but now I am realizing that probably that's the right way of doing it. And immediately he said, yeah, of course, that's what I'm telling. Go ahead, do that. And it worked not only then and there with that gentleman, it keeps working till now, I find, because people don't want to give you credit. And every time throughout your life, you are also not interested in taking credits. At times, you just want your ideas to work. You want to contribute effectively, and you want to make a difference to the people around you, the organization, and everything. So it really helped. And I found that people immediately start accepting the same idea, which earlier when you said is my idea, they were resisting. So that means the resistance is not towards idea, resistance is to the person, because if you are reporting to him, you can't be smarter than him. And then I said, fine, let's keep attributing, let's keep implementing the ideas. And that kept giving me the confidence that I'm on the right track, because every idea is working well. So then I started taking chances also, that, okay, I will do it in this particular manner. And even if it was not, my boss was not in agreement, even then I said, okay, I will do it this way, because I know that this is the right way of doing it. Or if you are saying no, I mean, I will put it on a mail. I will ensure that it is known to the whole management that my viewpoint is this, his viewpoint is this. And the moment couple of times that happened, and that also worked, then people started giving up also. Okay, then let's go with what Sanjeev is saying. So what I'm trying to say here is that the moment you take chances, the moment you make efforts, it does work. But you can't follow a copybook style all the time. Of course, those are your basics. You can't forget them. You have to learn from that. You have to keep yourself open. You have to listen to everyone around. And one very good learning that I had in supply chain domain was that I always say that to be effective in supply chain, your bandwidth should be very good, because on one hand, you should be comfortable in putting your hand across the shoulder of your worker in the warehouse, or maybe a transport driver or someone like him. So at the junior most level, you should be comfortable in probably sharing a BD with him and talking to him. On the other hand, you should be having the bandwidth to convince, after learning from here, you should be able to convince your top management. You should be able to talk to your chairman or managing director or the CEO that this is the right way of doing it. And this is how we should do, because you know that this is coming from the grassroots. It is actually the matter of fact. It's not the boardroom discussion, but it is the grassroots level learning. And that is one of the best I found always. So I still count on that. And I found that this bandwidth is very important. And when this bandwidth you build, that you are comfortable with the truck driver and the labor there in your warehouse, to the CMD and CEO of the organizations, I think it really helps a lot because you cover the whole universe basically, and that's the set of people you have to work with. That gives you confidence, that helps you in contributing, that helps you in learning, that helps you in growing. And at the end of the day, that is what you want. So why restrict yourself? So that's why I said right in the beginning, follow your heart, go with it, make your efforts, make attempts. And what worse will happen? You are making 10 efforts, maybe in 1 or 2 or 3, you will fail also. But so be it. Because in 7, you will succeed also. In 5, you will succeed also. Even if you succeed in 1, you have done something new. So you have done something meaningful. You have been able to make an impact. I don't know how many of you understand Hindi well. I just remembered one very good couplet that I read somewhere. कि ले दे के जिंदगी में एक अपनी नजर ही तो है, ले दे के जिंदगी में एक अपनी नजर ही तो है, क्यों देखें जिंदगी को किसी की नजर से हम, माना कि रास्तों में कोई गुल ना खिला सके, कुछ खार तो कम कर गए गुजरे जिधर से हम, एटलीस्ट कांटे तो कुछ कम हो गए उस रास्ते से. So what I'm saying that as long as you are making your own path, I don't know, in the journey of bank today, where do we stand? Jaspreet obviously would know better. You might be having still fairer idea. But what I know for sure, if you have the conviction, if you have the confidence in your own abilities, if you have confidence in your own vision, then nothing can stop it. Because the good part in today's world is that everything has a market, everything has a requirement, and people need to understand. I think it's a very novel idea to me. The day Jaspreet talked, I immediately felt excited about it. In any case, my one limitation is the moment I get any new idea, I feel excited about it, and it takes me time to understand that okay, everything is not for you. You are not for everything. So take time to understand it. But usually I get extremely excited, and with no exception, the moment Jaspreet talked about this whole concept, I was so excited, and I immediately said that how can I be, a part of it? And idea of being a part is basically because when you network with such people, I always believe that your worth is what is your network's worth. Because today, whatever, again, I give you one example of my career journey. That was in ITC. After 4-5 years of my association with ITC, in the annual appraisal form, there used to be one column that what is your USP? So I used to write something earlier also. But that year, what I wrote there was that I can, in logistics, I can make anything happen anytime, anywhere in India. Okay. So I gave it to my boss. So he said, what is this? What is this USP? I said, this is the only USP probably that you can ask for, because I'm the logistic head or the supply chain head of the company. Now, if I am saying that anyway, I don't see whether I have a contract with the transporter or not, I don't see whether I have a warehouse in that city or not, wherever, whatever the sales team wants to happen, I will make it happen. And that's my USP, because that's why I'm here. So after that, I continued for another 5 years in ITC, and next 5 years, I continued to write the same thing. That's why I remember it, that I can make anything happen in supply chain anytime, anywhere in the country. And that's my USP, because at the end of the day, why I was able to make that statement, because of my network, what I had developed over the years with Honda, Samsung, Reliance, and ITC in the first 5 years. So whether it was my boss or my subordinates, my colleagues, my business associates, my service providers, they were all with me. They had become family. And that network gave me the confidence that I could make that kind of a statement. Because everywhere, every time, at the end of the day, who works? It is you and me. As long as we are all together, anything is possible. So the moment we start trusting each other, we start believing, and it is not for a selfish purpose that you are maintaining that relation. That relation, when you maintain in the most genuine manner, by being there in that relation, at times it is just one good advice that someone asks for. At times it is just that, someone is not well and you are there to take care of him, or you are there to help him out. So I think the moment that kind of environment you are able to create, uh, it's perfectly, the whole universe belongs to you. And then obviously you are able to do whatever you want. So uh, these days I'm writing a book also on universe within. And the subject of that universe within is that whatever what I said, or what everyone knows, that what goes around comes around. So basically the whole universe is within me. It's my inner self, it's my inner light, which brightens the whole world. When I read about CSR, corporate social responsibility, when I read about sustainability, I mean, those are the subjects which I am in love these days. Of late, I'm just trying myself to get equipped as much as I can on the areas of corporate social responsibility and sustainability, because what I believe that, as I think most of you would be knowing already, that we always had one concept of this profitability for the business. Business we do for profitability, but now the triple P concept has come. That is profit, people, and planet. So you have to think for everyone, people around you. That means the society at large and the planet, so that the sustainability comes in. Now the triple bottom line is when you are focusing, that's how this whole concept of universe within came to me, that everything, whatever we do can make an impact. Even if, like I was one among those typical, I would say, Indian mentality holders who say that अगर हमने वो कार में जा रहे हैं और हमने वो कुछ पीनट्स और चिप्स खाने के बाद वो बाहर फेंक दिया तो ठीक है, इट्स राइट, आफ्टर ऑल वी आर इंडिपेंडेंट सिटीजन ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंट कंट्री. And I read a story somewhere that there was one gentleman who was walking on the street and he was having a stick in his hand and he was rotating it like this. The other person coming from the other side, he said, hey gentleman, what are you doing, you will hurt someone. So he said, I'm independent citizen of independent country, I can do whatever I feel like. So the other person said, your independence ends where my independence starts. Okay, so I think that was one lesson which got recorded in my mind. I started realizing that my kids started, when they started growing, they started telling me, hey, Papa, how can you be so irresponsible? On one hand, you talk so much about the good things and you are taking these things very casually. That was the day, and till date, I never take things casually. I take things seriously, but I don't take myself too seriously, because I believe, that we take too much of stress on ourselves, that, we are the torch bearer of whatever we are doing and we have to make a change in the universe. Now, all of us cannot be Mahatma Gandhi or Nelson Mandela. All of us cannot be even Osama bin Laden or Daud. Because what had been one of my learnings over the years was that as now when you start studying management, you come to know about the management theories, and the bell curve principle is one. So that is what tells you that there are 5 or 10% people, or 10 or 15% people who are at the top, who think very differently, who are very constructive, who are very productive. And the same way, there are 5-10% people who are very destructive, who will damage anything, kill anyone, and do whatever worse they can do. But 70% population is the followers. Okay, they can neither lead, they can neither destroy. They will maybe do whatever is they are told to be done, or at best they will keep cribbing or maybe appreciating something silently. But they are not the game changers. So the game changers are those 10-15% people, or these 5-10 people. Now that is where we need to understand that we can make a difference the moment we get out of that herd mentality, the moment we become origin. Jasprit, please stop me wherever I cross my timeline.
No, we're going good so far. Yeah.
So I think that is one important lesson, that we should continue to take people along, keep experimenting new things, and the more we take the world along, it becomes that much better and easier for us to bring some effective changes around us. and everyone may not be in a position to bring the kind of changes that Mahatma Gandhi or Nelson Mandela had brought. But at the same time, it is not necessary also that everyone brings that level of change only. Because when we talk of success, we will talk about Mukesh Ambani, we will talk about Dhirubhai Ambani, we will talk about Ratan Tata. But then they are not the only successful people. They are the examples, they are the ideals. But as far as the example is concerned, I know, I mean, in lifetime, I would have come across hundreds of such people who are very contented, who say that I don't want to do anything more, because whatever they are doing, that they are doing very well in that area, and they have achieved their own level of success, and they are making an impact around them. So it is only that somewhere we need to see the level of success can be different, but that happiness, that positivity, that creativity, that will always help you in moving ahead and enjoying your life. Because at the end of the day, I always believe that we must live life to the fullest, because it's only one life. Do the best that we can, make an impact around people around you. Do things with all sincerity, with the focus, with the commitment, so that there is a stamp of you as whatever we are. Like for me, it is Sanjeev Khanna. So anything going from Sanjeev Khanna, people should trust, the whole management should trust, my team members should trust that if it is coming from there, practically in 90% or 99% chances are that it's going to be perfect, because that's what you are there for. So don't take those things lightly, but otherwise don't take yourself that seriously that you are not able to enjoy. I still, in the office, whether I was an officer or an executive or a manager or a general manager or CEO or CEO, I always keep cracking jokes. I will keep reciting some poetry or whatever comes to my mind. And it is only to lighten that environment, because we take so much of a stress that we forget that we have to enjoy this, because you spend maybe 10, 12 hours there in your office. We call that as our team, and we spend maybe 2 hours or 4 hours at home, and we call that as our family. Why this is all here? Why that also cannot be my family? That can be my extended family. I live my life with them. I spend 10, 12 hours with them. So why you all cannot be my family? Why can't I be your family member? It is only because we have defined this is right, this is wrong, this is the way world behaves. We have to be careful here. We have to be cautious here. Why? I mean, even if you let go, what is going to happen? Sky is not going to fall. Okay, actually, again, I remember read somewhere, trust, there was test on that also, why we are not able to trust people, and that causes that is one big bottleneck for our happiness. There had been tests done that in Canada, probably they had studied, they did one exercise, and they left some 100 or around 100 wallets with $100 in it, and they left at different places like bus stop or railway station, the metro, and some shopping mall, and so they distributed across the country, and those were being observed. Before doing this exercise, or before doing this research exercise, they had asked people that how many people you think, if we do it this way, how many wallets we will get back? And the general feedback was 10 to 15%. Okay. And when they got it, it was around 60%. Finally, after that research exercise, that means what? We don't trust people around us, but they are trustworthy. People are more trustworthy. They are not 100%, agreed. But it is not that they are the percentage of such people who can be trusted. You don't trust, then you take that stress. And because you don't trust, so you take it to yourself. The moment you start trusting, you will find that people are much better than what you are expecting them to be. They are more trustworthy. Why are we reserving ourselves? Why we are not giving that freedom to us? Again, I remember one story, probably the last one that I will share. There is a saying that not saying, it's a story, some small story, that someone said, when you are maybe 25, from 20 to 40 or 20 to 30, something of that age group. So you don't do lot many things because you think, people looking at me, what they will think of me. And when you are in your 30s to 50s, you say whatever they will say, I will still do it that way. And when you are 50 plus, which I am now, then you realize no one was looking at you. You were all along thinking, I won't do what people will think. If I do, let them think whatever they want. But actually, no one was looking at you. You take yourself too seriously. People don't take you that seriously. So better relax, do what you want to do, enjoy. Because if you are enjoying, if you are happy, you can give people what you have. You can't give anyone what you don't have. So if I'm happy, I can give happiness. If I'm positive, I can give positivity. If I am sad, I will give the sadness only around me. And who is interested in that? So better we should learn to enjoy life, make it worth living, not for ourselves but for everyone, because then everyone makes life worth living for me. So what goes around comes around. So it's that simple. You spread positivity, you get positivity. You spread happiness, you get happiness. And at the end of the day, that is what we want. So success in career, network, success in career, new efforts, living with the process, living with the team. And the stronger the team, stronger the process, stronger the networks are, the better off you are. And you are achieving the success, you are enjoying your work, you are making a positive impact around you. People are enjoying, they are happy, and they want to live with you, they want to continue. So all the relation, I mean, right from my first job, now it's almost 30-year plus, my first boss, my first team members, my colleagues, my business associates, they are today family. And the same happened with the second job, third job. So my network kept increasing. Then those people started obviously going to different places. They went, so many of them are leading supply chain domain or HR in some other company. So today that network has multi-folded grown. And today, whenever, I have become a consultant of consultants, the backend consultant for consultants. They approach me that we are taking this person there, I am recommending him for that role. What do you think? You will be knowing someone there, no? So I check and I tell, yes, the guy is good, the guy is not good, whatever feedback I get. So I think it helps in that network. It gives so much of a strength. And the richer it becomes, the richer it keeps becoming. So you just have to make the beginning. So it has the ripple effect and it keeps increasing. So it's true for happiness, it's true for the business, it's true for everything in life. The more you give, the more you get. So that's all from my side, friend. I'm sorry in case I have overstressed or in case I said anything which was offending anyone. My apologies for that. So over to you,
Sir,
Jaspreet.
thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I think this should continue for a longer period of time. And you've shared so many pearls of wisdom. I've been making notes, and I'm full. My one page is full. But the good thing is I'm recording, so that I can always go back and relearn all these events and the stories you've shared with all of us. So I think that is what I really wanted to bring for all of our bank members. These are real life learnings. You've gone through that path. These are not some management theories. This is your own personal life journey, and that's why I emphasize that. Love to know more about your journey, because all of us are at different stages of our careers, and some way we start to believe or not to believe in ourselves कि यार ये मैं कर पाऊंगा, ये मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगा. और आपने वो बहुत अच्छी बात कही कि nobody is looking at us. When you are 20 to 30, you're trying to impress everybody by wearing those nice clothes or having a dummy mobile phone. I used to do that कि यार कोई देखेगा मेरे पास भी phone है. And then as you continue to grow, then you start to realize यार कोई नहीं देख रहा है. Doesn't really matter. You are just watching yourself कि यार मैं अच्छा कर रहा हूँ कि नहीं कर रहा हूँ. Can I be a better version of myself? I think that is what it is all about. And you spoke a lot about building the networks. You are a huge networker in your own way. You build huge networks. You call them extended family. That is something really talk a lot about the person, the way you perceive things, the way you really manage those things. And I think that is something we're trying to build at bank also. That okay, see, business automatically follows. If you invest in relationships, if you keep watering the plants, you will bear the fruits for them as well. So that is what we are building up. We'll open it for the audience, for the bank members. I can see there's a lot of comments going on, and so I'll open it. So guys, you can raise your hand so that everybody gets a fair opportunity. The good thing is, sir, I wanted to tell you, we are almost members from 12-13 cities in India, in US, in Canada. So, Jaipur, Chandigarh, so aap Indore se hain, so right. So this is really good to see that, also many people connecting on one single platform. So we'll open it up. Rajiv ji, obviously, we'll make the start with you. So please go ahead.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू जसप्रीत जी। संजीव सर नमस्कार, मेरा नाम राजीव शर्मा है और मैं एक इंटरनेशनल लॉजिस्टिक्स कंपनी रन करता हूं, जिसमें हम लोग एक्सपोर्टर्स और इंपोर्टर्स को हेल्प करते हैं उनके गुड्स एक्सपोर्ट इंपोर्ट कराने में। सर, हम हर सैटरडे यहाँ से कुछ लर्निंग लेकर जाते हैं और लास्ट टाइम मिस्टर कपिल यहाँ पे आए थे, उनसे भी हम लोगों ने काफी लर्निंग, उन्होंने भी कुछ मिस्ट्री ऑडिट के बारे में हम लोगों को बताया था और शायद वो यहाँ पे उन्होंने, हमारी मीटिंग खत्म हुई है और वो इमीडिएट मैंने अपने ऑफिस में इम्प्लीमेंट करके प्लान किया। तो हर चीज हर जगह, और मुझे पता लगा कि मेरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के अंदर अभी थोड़े से ग्लिच है जो मुझे ठीक करने हैं। आप इसको डे टू डे बेसिस के ऊपर शायद नहीं करते, बट जब आप सामने किसी की बातें सुनते हैं, किसी के बारे में सुनते हैं, तो शायद आप रियलाइज करते हैं कि ये भी मुझे करना चाहिए। तो आज का जो मेरा टेक अवे है वो आपसे है कि लहरों से डरकर नौका पार नहीं होती और कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती। तो सर, मैं आपसे जानना चाहूंगा आपकी कोई ऐसी लर्निंग जो हम जो बिजनेस ओनर्स हैं शायद वो एक ले सकें आपसे, एक टेक अवे ले सके जो हर बिजनेसमैन को इम्प्लीमेंट करनी चाहिए अपनी कंपनीज के अंदर या अपनी इंडिविजुअल लाइफ के अंदर। तो मैं वो आपसे थोड़ा सा जानना चाहूंगा सर।
आई वुड give a very practical example. First of all, Rajiv, thank you very much for your question, because I think it is relevant to all of us all the time. So it's a very universal question. My couple of things which I had shared already, I would repeat. One is the process orientation. What happens, I have being in the logistic and supply chain domain for over 30 years. One thing that I have seen, many transport companies, I know almost everyone in the transport fraternity or the logistic fraternity, they have grown substantially and to a particular level, and they have not grown beyond that. Okay, both are the facts. They have grown up to a particular level, maybe 100 crore, 500 crore turnover, 4,000 crore turnover, 5,000 crore, and then they get struck. Now, whether you get stuck at 500 or 5,000, it all depends on your attitude. I would say even not only on the logistic industry, even in industries like ours. I'm working with Patanjali and I keep sharing it. So I'm sharing one of the personal experience with you. What happens, we have a particular mindset, okay? And till we are open for the fresh ideas, till we empower the new talent, till we are able to bring them, understand from them, allow them to do new things, nothing different is going to happen. Because I might be good for something sometime, somewhere. There is a saying in English, good enough is not good enough. What was good enough yesterday is not good enough today. What is good enough today will not be good enough tomorrow. So you have to bring the process orientation. You have to have fresh ideas. You have to bring new talent. You have to empower them, have a clear roadmap, and then keep working on it. The problem with most of us or the smaller businesses is that we get struck because we want to control and we can do only as much as we can. So from my side, that would be the recommendation. Process orientation, 1, a clear roadmap, 2, and having the right people to do the right jobs with the right empowerment.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant, sir. आपने तो कई लोगों के क्वेश्चन आंसर कर दिए इस एक क्वेश्चन में। थैंक यू राजीव जी, थैंक्स फॉर आस्किंग दिस। मैं इनफैक्ट जब मैं संजीव सर से बात कर रहा था तो मैंने उनको बोला था that towards the end of the session I'm going to ask you one question, one tip, if you can give that, what really we need to do all of that. So you stole my thunder, but that is good. That's for everybody. Yeah, Preeti, you wanted to ask something.
Actually, answer is already given. The same thing is with me also. But thank you, Sanjeev sir. Thank you for coming to our platform, giving giving us the enlightenment. And,
my pleasure. Entirely my pleasure.
And let me tell you the kind of work you have done, so many industries, so many people, so much of network, the kind of energy you have, the way you are giving the answer. And you were saying when I was just judging that time, you were saying that मेरा ज़्यादा तो नहीं हो गया, मैंने लंबा तो नहीं कर दिया. But you know, जब आपका शो चल रहा था, तभी half of the show में राजीव जी ने हाथ उठा दिया था. Because actually ये मौका कोई छोड़ना नहीं चाहता. जब भी, और इतना इंटरेस्टिंग हो जाता है कभी कभी कि हमें शो बंद करना पड़ता है कि यार बहुत हो गया, सामने वाले ने भी जाना है घर, मतलब समटाइम इतना लंबा हो जाता है. माय क्वेश्चन इज ऑलरेडी आंसर्ड. थैंक यू सो मच. And now other people can ask, because I will not take that
Thank
much
you
of
very
time.
much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Preet.
you.
Like you all have heard about MDH Masala, and their owner or whatever, that Baba, he never let anything go. I mean, he wanted to handle everything. He was doing very well. I know about like 10 years back or so, their turnover was maybe 300 crore and he was making about 100 crore. But he was like, maybe he was stuck somewhere. So, I mean, most of us, maybe sometimes I'm happy with 30 crore or 50 crore or 100 crore. But if we have it a process-oriented system, it can go from 300 to 3,000 crore. It could have gone to that also. That's what I wanted.
True.
Thank you so much.
True. Very true.
Absolutely, Ravindra ji. Thank you so much. Yeah, Navneet, you want to go ahead, please?
सर मजा आ गया आपका सेशन सुन के, और सुपर एक्साइटेड एक्चुअली. सर मैं इंडिया में ट्रॉफीज बनाता हूँ हम लोग, और प्राउडली टू से दैट वी आर इंडियाज लार्जेस्ट कंपनी इनटू मैन्युफैक्चरिंग ऑफ ट्रॉफीज एंड अवार्ड्स. सो आईफा, फिल्म फेयर, स्क्रीन, जितने अवार्ड्स आप टीवी पे देखते हैं उसमें से 60-70% पे कंट्रीब्यूशन रहता है.
Brilliant.
सर आपने एक बहुत अच्छी बात बताई कि बहुत सारे आइडियाज आते हैं और हम बड़े एक्साइटेड हो जाते हैं, बट अपने आप को कंट्रोल करना पड़ता है कि यार हम इस चीज के लिए सुटेबल नहीं है. सर उसको रोकते कैसे हैं? क्योंकि वो कंट्रोलिंग ना, मतलब वो बड़ा मुश्किल होता है. 2-4 दिन तो नींद नहीं आती, 2-4 दिन तो नींद नहीं आती, उसके बारे में सोचते रहते हैं. फिर धीरे धीरे क्या होता है कि वो आइडिया, मतलब फिर कोई और आइडिया आ जाता है तो उसके ऊपर टेक ओवर हो जाता है और वो ड्रॉप हो जाता है.
Wonderful, brilliant question. To be very honest, I'm pretty sure I don't have the right answer, the perfect answer for this, because as I said, I confess that till date it happens with me, and the latest example of that is Jasprit. That the moment we talked about it, I still believe that my excitement was very right. I still believe that this excitement is justified, and it's not only one of excitements, but yes, over the years, one thing positively I have learned, that as I said, that everything is not for me and I'm not for everything. We start understanding it. Your heart guides you. I mean, at least in my case, I go with my heart. At times, the moment something comes, you come across something, you realize that yes, this is what, it gives you an energy, it gives you a different confidence that this is something where you can connect. And there are many things which excite you, but the very next day or maybe after 2-3 days, you feel that you will have to work for it. That means your heart is not into it. It is making maybe commercial sense. It may be making some sense to you, and that is why you are going for it. But do you really want to do it? So no, it sounds like a work. The moment something starts sounding like a work, then that means you are making an effort to convince yourself. And I always believe to go with heart, as I shared. Why unnecessarily? There is so much to do. So why you have to do something where your heart is not into it? Better to do something where my heart is into it and I'm enjoying doing it. And practically, I don't even realize that I'm working. But actually, I'm working quite effectively for my environment. So as just now we were talking about that. But actually, if you happen to meet Mr. Ram Bharat or Baba Ramdev, you will find that they actually understand a balance sheet as good as a CA can, because they question our CA or our CFO, and at times they are caught on the wrong foot because their intensity of learning. So that is where I say the learning attitude is very, very important in life, because as Jasprit had rightly mentioned in my introduction, I saw the foot message there that you should never stop learning because life never stops teaching you. So I think, it got recorded and it will be there for me forever. I will keep using it in my different sessions because I think that's very important. So there are two parts of it. What I'm saying, one is that without having professional qualification, they are able to run this business to this level that year on year there had been 100% growth. It became a case study for management schools that how someone can do it this way. And even Hindustan Liver today is selling toothpaste with
Wow, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Jaspreet, we need one more session with sir for the UCAN chapter, and it should be more professional instead of the life history as well. We
Right.
can include that professional talks as well. So
No,
that will be very, very
absolutely.
helpful for everyone.
तो देखो सर ने दो चीजें बोली. एक, he is very excited about bank and so am I. So sir, I'm just making it on a public platform. So I'm coming soon to Indore to meet you as
I'm
promised.
looking forward.
I'll be there and we will definitely take it to the next level. Second is, I learned it from somewhere and this is again very relevant. I call it a PD approach. PD is like, pre-dhingra and par-dhingra, so two close buddies of mine. So PD is pause and decide, right? So whenever we feel excited or angry about anything, so the way of, handling it is keep pause and take a decision. See if you feel the same way after 1 week. See if you feel the same way after 2 weeks, and after 4 weeks, if the feeling remains same, so that means you are absolutely in the right path. Go ahead, don't leave it. But typically you'll find the answers within, so that's a very powerful concept which I learned and I try to apply, right? So pause and decide, both for good as well as bad. So anyways, thank you, Navneet, for asking this question. So Sandeep will come to you and Nisha will come to you after that, please.
गुड मॉर्निंग संजीव सर.
Very
मेरा नाम
good morning.
संदीप तोमर है. मैं अपनी कंपनी रन करता हूँ, उसका नाम है मनी मास्टर. हम वेल्थ मैनेजमेंट का काम करते हैं और वेल्थ मैनेजमेंट का जो काम होता है, कहीं ना कहीं वी आर द सर्विस प्रोवाइडर. हम एक मीडिएटर हैं कहीं ना कहीं एजेंसीज और कस्टमर के बीच का. मेरा कंसर्न सिर्फ ये है सर यहाँ पे कि हमारे पास में कई बार ऐसा होता है कि 5 to 10% केसेस के अंदर कि हम जो सर्विस की जो गारंटी देते हैं कस्टमर को, कहीं ना कहीं फेल कर जाती है ड्यू टू, क्योंकि हम मीडिएटर हैं, हमारे पास में सारा कंट्रोल होता नहीं कि हम एक एजेंसी से सर्विस लेके दूसरे कस्टमर को हम प्रोवाइड करा रहे हैं. तो उसमें जरूरी नहीं है कि हमारी मिस्टेक्स हो जिसकी वजह से वो डिले हो रहा है या काम नहीं हो पा रहा है. बट वो 5 to 10% जो क्लाइंट्स की सर्विस हमसे जो किसी रीजन से गलत हो पाती है, तो उसमें क्या है कि मार्केट में एक ऐसा हमें खुद लगता है कि ऐसा एक ट्रेंड बन जाता है कि यार ये मतलब एक आपकी नेगेटिविटी फैलना शुरू हो जाती है. तो हमारा इंटेंट ऐसा नहीं है, हम ये नहीं चाहते किसी के साथ में गलत करें. किसी क्लाइंट से मिलकर जब आ रहे हैं वहां, तो हमारा इंटेंट यही है कि उसको बेस्ट टू बेस्ट डिलीवरी दें. लेकिन एज ए सर्विस प्रोवाइडर वो 100% करेक्ट हो नहीं पाता. उसके लिए हमको क्या करना चाहिए? सेकंड क्वेश्चन मेरा ये था कि जैसे आपने कहा एक ब्रांड एम्बेसडर के लिए, तो ब्रांड एम्बेसडर हो सकता है कि हर कोई आदमी जो अपना अभी स्टार्टअप कर रहा है बिजनेस को, वो उसको अफोर्ड कर पाएगा नहीं कर पाएगा. तो उसके लिए हमको क्या करना चाहिए जिससे कि हम अपने फाइनेंसिस के बीच में जाके मतलब अपने हिसाब से उसको हम किस तरह से कंसिडर कर सकते हैं?
Okay, so I will try to address your question. The first question, that 5 to 10% probably you may go wrong in your assessment or in your deliverables. I think I don't have the data with me. I'm not from that industry, but broadly, one thing that I'm pretty sure that because I also at times make some small investments here there, no one can ever give 100% assurance. Okay, when you do something, I think we must accept that slippage to some extent is a part of it. Probably for me, the key lies in being transparent and honest about it upfront, because it is better to under promise and over deliver than to over commit and under deliver. So if I tell right in the beginning that this is my track record and take the track record of the best in the industry also, I'm pretty sure there also there would be a success and failure rate. There cannot be any organization with 100% success rate. So there would be, maybe it could be 99 and 1, or it can be 99 or 90 or 10, like in your case. But wherever it lies, if you define that, if you tell that, if you study the market, and if you talk with the facts that this is what the industry benchmark is, and to this extent, we also probably have that margin of failure or not meeting 100% of the expectation. So I think customer also gains that confidence, at least the wise people, and you should not care for the otherwise. So that's one thing that I would like to say. And as far as the second part of being a brand ambassador, I think someone just now had given a very good example of Maheshiyandi Hatti, MDH, that gentleman, as well as Baba Ramdev as a head chair. I think they trusted in what they believed, and that is why they became the best brand ambassadors for that. At that point of time, if I had no conviction into it, I would not have been, till I'm convinced, I won't be able to convince anyone. So I think they were the best brand ambassador at that point of time. Now we are also adding more brand ambassadors as we are growing. And I'm pretty sure even going forward with all others, you will find the same thing. We should not be, probably you can be the best brand ambassador for your brand. What it is important is how people start trusting that. That's the whole purpose at the end of the day of any brand. So today we have, again, it's that herd mentality which makes us believe if Amitabh Bachchan is saying it, it must be good only. If Ajay Devgan is or Shah Rukh Khan is propagating even Rajnigandha or whatever Pan Masala, even that is good. So it is not good. As a vice, that's why I said ki vice people understand it and we should not care for the other vice. Because everyone understands that it is bad. They are promoting pan masala. Now, simply because Ajay Devgan is saying or Shah Rukh Khan is saying, I want to start eating it. Right. So I think you can be the best brand ambassador for yourself to start with. Most of the young businesses, the conviction which you will have in your business, no one else will have. So you are the best brand ambassador at that stage, and subsequently someone who reflects that value system. For example, if it is for a nutraceutical product, and if it is a athlete who's representing it, I think that is the right selection of the brand ambassador. So I don't know if I answered you completely. This is what I have to say on this.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. You answered 3 or more questions as well, right? So that's really good. Yeah, Nisha, you go with that, and probably that will be the last question we'll be taking.
Thank you so much, Jaspreet. Good morning.
It is Nisha's first day. She's just joined as a member of bank. So
brand new in bank. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank
Welcome
you.
and
So
congratulations.
much.
Because
Thank you.
Jaspreet has not taken me on board till now. So congrats to you.
Very soon we'll be, maybe we'll be a
Come
part
there
of
and
it very soon. Thank you so much, Sanjeev ji, for your time and efforts. And it was really wonderful, listening to you. I had a couple of questions which I was just writing down, during the entire session. But eventually I realized that, you have already answered a couple of, my concerns and everything. The only thing which is more of a kind of your personal experiences, which I would like to actually ask you, which I have also faced in my career. I'm a HR professional in my career, and I've got like 13 years of experience in the same, working with various MNCs basically. The biggest thing which I can actually, what I can actually relate with your career is that you have worked with MNCs, and then you have worked with the Indian-based companies as well. The biggest thing which we actually face while, as a recruitment person is also that convincing people to move from MNCs to Indian-based companies. First thing, because of the cultural differences. And I remember that, you also mentioned that, you for a very brief period of time, you worked with Reliance and there was a cultural difference and everything. But I'm sure that you might have faced the similar kind of cultural difference when coming from Honda or from ITC to, Ruchi Soya or maybe Patanjali, because there's a huge difference in the entire culture of the organization. How do you manage that particular difference, and what would you guide me as when I am actually recruiting for that kind of companies, those who have good potential, but how to convince people on the, on that particular front, wherein, most of the people, those who are coming from fancy colleges and fancy organizations, they don't want to work with these companies, no matter how big the compensation is and no matter how great the company's potential is. So if you can just tell me that. Okay, so if I understood your question rightly, Nisha, you said that because of two things, probably. One is that when you move from one environment or one atmosphere, work culture to another, how easy or difficult it is to adapt, and how do we adapt with that? And second is, how do you attract the right talent for the organization that you are working with, if it is not a very big brand name today, which maybe from some branded management schools, when people come, they look for a branded company. More
that
of like
your-
more of like the Indian companies and the MNCs. You know, when you talk about people really want to work with Honda, people want to work with big names outside, like companies coming from outside to India, but not from the Indian companies. Only couple of companies like Tata's and Infosys and all these companies, people are dying to work with them. But whenever given a kind of preferences, people end up going to either HCL or any other, IBM or something of that sort. So if you can just know.
okay.
That way.
So yeah, so two parts, as I said. So first part, I would say how easy or difficult it is to adapt with the different work cultures. I would say that it is very easy as long as you have open mind and you are sure of yourself as an individual. The problem becomes, when we start looking for the same environment everywhere, it cannot be the same. So even if you change the city, some people I have seen in my life, and even today, I mean, you will all experience that he doesn't want to live Indore, he doesn't want to leave Bombay, he doesn't want to leave Delhi, he doesn't want to leave. I tell you, I started my career in Hyderabad. I spent almost 4-5 years there. Then I spent about maybe 10-12 years in NCR. Then I spent about 7-8 years in Bangalore. I spent about a year in Bombay, a year in Chennai. I always look where I'm getting the right opportunity and where I can add my value, where I can get my value. And that was my driving force. That was my guiding force. As long as you have that, you know what happens, you get into your comfort zone. As I said, why someone would move from Honda to Toyota or Maruti or Eicher Escort, because of that comfort zone only. I know how automobile works. So this is more of a mindset issue. If I am open for that challenge, if I want to go in a different environment, in any case, mentally I'm coming prepared for the change. I know Samsung is going to be very different experience than Honda, and that's the very reason I'm there. So I'm not having that baggage that I have to live with the same thing. Now, as long as someone is having that rigidity, I don't think he is the right person. I mean, that's how I select people. People who are having any sort of that kind of a reservation कि सब वो चाहिए, job चाहिए लेकिन दिल्ली में, job चाहिए लेकिन Calcutta में. Now, I believe that, and that's what I told my children also when they started their career, that you have to keep moving. Rather, I never had to tell them because they had seen me doing that. Wherever you get the right opportunity, wherever is the right platform where you can get your best and give your best, be there. That's the place for you. And whatever happens in the process, I think to some extent that is also as an individual how we react to different situations. Someone will always creep, someone will always keep mum, someone will always smile and talk about all the positivity. So how do we react to that different changes? But otherwise, I tell you, adapting to those changes is not very difficult. I'm perfect example of it. From automobile to electronics to lifestyle to fashion to wholesale to retail to e-com. And till this age, I'm doing it. I'm in Indore for last 2 years now. And the moment we landed here, the COVID pandemic started and we got struck here. And it happens. But then as long as mentally and emotionally you are accepting that the life has to bring those changes, and those changes are what you have to enjoy, then it should be fine. Coming to the second part of it, why and how to attract the people, the branded people to branded organization or unbranded organization. I think, it happens today, at least a lot of change has already happened, which you can see all around you. Today, most of the IIM or IITs or these ISBs, they are not looking for the big brands. They are looking for either starting off something of their own or joining some startup where there is not the big brand name available. They want to make it a big brand name. I think the whole learning, teaching, everything is changing over the years. So this mindset is changing very fast, very rapidly. People are not looking for a Honda or a Samsung because they know that they will get a very defined framework to perform, whereas they want much open environment to perform, who are again sure of themselves. People who are sure of themselves, they will go for all kind of changes within the organization, changes in different work cultures, changes in different industry vertical, and branded or unbranded also, because they are sure of themselves. But actually this problem is both ways.
most of the companies also look for people from IIM, IIT only because they don't believe in their own judgment. They believe that if he's coming from there, it must be good because I can't judge. Now that is very stupid. I mean, if someone after 10, 20, 15 years of experience, he can't judge a person, he is bound to fail. And actually he is bound to create a lot of confusion around him because it is just not if that would have been the truth, it's not my understanding. It's the matter of truth. If that would have been the truth, then IIM Ahmedabad's topper should always get the best package in the country. But it doesn't happen that way because IIM Ahmedabad is supposed to be rated as the best and the topper there is the best. So obviously he should get the best package, but it doesn't happen. Someone from Symbiosis or someone from IMT or MDI or from anywhere, anyone can, and that too the 10th rank because he understands the business. So that is the place where the taker and the giver, the provider, both understand the worth of each other. They are not looking for the brand names there. So if I am able to address that.
Thank you so much, Sanjeev ji.
Brilliant.
I have really very strong roots from Indore, so whenever I'll be coming, I'll definitely talk to
Look
you.
forward eagerly.
Thank
Look
you.
forward eagerly.
Thank you, sir.
No, I think, there's a story which goes by that when Steve Jobs was hiring for his CEO, so he liked a person who was the CEO of Pepsi at that point of time. So he called him up for a, coffee meeting, not a Pepsi meeting. And he told him one thing, that either you can go ahead and keep selling these Pepsis and, these sugary drinks all over your life, or you can come and work with me and change the world. So that is what it is all about. The way you really pitch it, that either, you can be the tail of the lion or you can be head of the fox. So you have to decide it for yourself. What do you really want to become? And that is one pitch probably, we can pitch to the candidates, those who don't understand that, okay, this is what it is going to happen, right? Anyway, sir, thank you so much. I think brilliant session, a lot of learning, and still, we can continue, as Navneet already mentioned, that we should have one more session. For our UCAN chapter as well. I shared with you that we are building that UCAN chapter as well.
True.
So thank you so much for being here. We enjoyed a lot, and guys, give a big round of applause to sir.
Thank you very much.
For all the positive energy and everything.
Thank you very much.
So glad that you're here with us. And I would request you to just wait for 5 more minutes. I have a couple of more announcements to make, and it'll be really great to have you here
Look
with
forward.
us.
Look forward.
Yeah, great.
It had been, I must say that it had been a tremendous learning experience for me also. And probably if ever you give me another chance, I would be relatively better because I will take some notes and I will try not to be 100% extempo. But like Navneet said, if it is for the corporate, then there should be ideally, there should be a regular flow. Today, I was just going with my flow, but maybe keeping in mind the time restrictions.
We love that flow. Obviously, we can, once we go to that format, but the way we have designed these bankable talks are more personal. These are not professional talks. These are not one-way communication kind of talks. Talks which are relevant, talks wherein you can relate to, and I think that is what you brought to the table. People feel connected, and probably that is your charisma as well, or that is your personality as well. But that is, I personally love having that kind of
Thank you very much. I appreciate.
Right. So guys, two big things. So one was obviously the financial dashboard, which we present every month, every week, largely. That is the power of networking, that how much value we have been able to create, how much, we have been able to monetize the network in terms of helping each other win, because whenever a transaction takes place, everybody in the ecosystem wins. The person who has bought the service, he wins because he got it from a trusted vendor. That is the power of bank. The person given the reference, he wins because he's been able to monetize his network, actually convert that network into network. And third is the person who has given the service, obviously added a new customer to his portfolio, and he can continue to work with him. So that is what we will leave the numbers today, but that is really the part of the weekly presentation here in India chapter. Another important thing which I wanted to share with all of you, we have added 3 more members today for India chapter, and the major announcement which I wanted to share was that we are adding another feather in the cap, wherein I would like to Can you see my screen by any chance? Yeah.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay.
It is
So,
Arun's picture is
yeah.
there.
Okay. So, guys, join me in welcoming Arun on board officially as a lead for North America. He would be heading our UCAN chapter, US and Canada. So he's onboarding with us as a Purple Club member. So that means access to everybody. And he would be accessible to everybody. So big round of applause for Arun. Arun is here with us today, right? Just to share a little bit about Arun. So Arun has been in US for last 17 years. You know, he's just like us, people like us. Some of you already know him very well, and that is what the quality we really look for, so that we feel that we have that bonding. He will lead the bank operations in US and help our existing bank community to expand their reach in US as well. He brings in a robust experience as a proven leader. He has, worn many hats while he's been in US. He has strong experience in retailing and franchisee development, financial consulting. He is a networker, and he has immensely contributed in, developing the community of Indians based out of North America. He is an active founding member of Peninsula Indian Cultural Association and many other organizations. So, Arun, big welcome to Bank family, and I'm so glad, so happy that you are here with us. And over to you, if you like to share something, your vision, your thought process, that'll be great.
Thank you so much, Jaspreet, for a great introduction. And first of all, today's session has been amazing, an awesome session. Right now it is 1:27 a.m. In Virginia, and I could stick to the screen. I was listening Sanjeevji, who is to me like an encyclopedia. You look for any questions, you can find the answers, and I'm sure all of the members from India chapters and some of UCAN chapters are also here, and everyone I believe has enjoyed his today's session. And I definitely want to thank you, and it's my honor